Yeah, so they're really kind of favored here. ZePhora Gaming, obviously a new team here to Siege Cardinal League. They're just coming in, so it's obviously going to be a little bit of an underdog persona, I think, and they've got a little bit to prove, I think. So we're going to have to see how things turn out. So that's your ban coming out from ZePhora. Probably going to see some pretty default bans usually here on Cafe. Not too much variance in what we see, but if we do see some interesting bans come out, that could really shake things up, which is what I'm hoping for.
Coming onto this, and we are going to get a Capital ban. You might see that, maybe if we don't see an Echo ban or a Maestro ban, just kind of making sure that fire just stays away from your defenders. And we're last one ticking down. We're going to get Mira. That's also kind of typical, these typical bans. Mira doesn't get much playtime, sadly. She's a very fun operator, but that Black Mirror, I think it's called the Black Mirror, is just so strong, and we are going to get a Valkyrie, which is another typical ban.
Yeah, so no shaking things up tonight. The Valkyrie is, I would say, probably the most unusual, though we've seen a rise in Valkyrie bans because how effective she can be. Cafe is usually a map that requires a lot of good setups, so bringing the IQ over another operator that could be more important to your lineup is not always a decision the attackers are willing to make. And so with how detailed and kind of, I would almost say, cluttery the map is, there's a lot of good spots to hide those cameras, especially on the outside of the building, and she can provide such good intel and just be such a thorn in the attacker's side. And because of how the map is set up, there's just great opportunities for runouts, and that can really just be such an ultimate factor to how these teams are able to shut down the offense on some of these rounds. And so seeing her banned out, while I mentioned a little bit unusual, definitely not something I would count out for a ban. The Capital is also, like you mentioned, pretty standard, although I would say I'm not sure how Depth are really going to deal with the lack of it.
Yeah, definitely, but it's that I mean, the lack of the Valkyrie, for some people, they absolutely do not know how to deal with it. Some people can play Valkyrie and be an absolute nightmare, and then when that Valkyrie's taken off the board, they have no clue what to do. So you take away some of those Valkyrie one-tricks, but these castle kind of rotating getting set up, you're forcing those attackers to kind of go through that hole, because you opening that hole, we're seeing the sledge. We're seeing a lot of soft destruction on the side of Depth. No hard breaches, though. We do have the Maverick, possibly going to Maverick trick that open. But we are going to see a third floor take, and I'm already there on the second floor, and they're starting to open up the train.
Yeah, very swift clear. This is going to be super helpful for Depth in when it gets down to the last 30 or so seconds. Glyph is going to take a lot of damage through the floor, though, and that's probably going to blunt things out for the attackers. You're not going to want to risk your sledge opening up the floor when you can get taken out by something else, but losing the Nitro Cell and not claiming a kill for it is going to be problematic when it comes later, considering the fact we only have 2 opportunities to bring Nitro Cells for the defense.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Right now, there's just so much time on the board for Depth. They've got all day to just hold these angles, and eventually they should find a pick up the board. ZePhora eventually is going to slip up, and that's really what Depth is waiting for at this point. And as time ticks down, we're in a little bit of a stalemate. I don't really know who's going to draw first.
Yeah, I think ZePhora have some really good positions right now. They're not exposing themselves too much to the roof, and they're really using the outside of the objective and all of those entrances in to provide the best cover as possible. We saw, I believe it was the Mozzie sitting at the main door, as well as we had the Wamai inside a bakery. So really just waiting here. The time advantage that Depth has started to drain down, and without much action taken on it so far, It's going to be interesting to see what they do when it comes down later in the execute. Big guy's going to take down Riley. That's your Jaeger off the board. So a strong opening pick. It looks like we have a player inside a freezer now, but the Mozzie has yet to be cleared. The plant is going down, though, halfway to be completed, and there looks like no attempt to stop it. Ilex is going to take out Glyph, finishing off the earlier kill. The Cheeks will get the refrag, taking out Alpine. Chu is going to find one of his own, taking out the Ash of Habini, and all of a sudden, it's a 3v3.
It seemed that ZePhora had controlled the site, but the roam game just was too much, and as big guy, as time goes down, Death Esports are going to take that. And it looks like it kind of all can crash down. We did see the plant kind of come out of nowhere. That ZePhora really should have at least tried to attempt to stop the plant. I believe they still had at least one C4 on the board. And the utility just wasn't there to kind of counteract the plant that Depth had.
Yeah, and I think that was a great opportunity Zeph could have taken. They had no way out of the kitchen, and if they had just collapsed on it, and if they had, you know, an operator like a Smoke, that can just create so much chaos and pushing people out of position, they could have absolutely handicapped them in that round. They all dropped through the hatch and never even opened a freezer wall, completely bypassing the player inside of Christmas, which was interesting to see. He didn't attempt a flank. I'm not sure whether or not there was an air jab on White Stairs. You know, Depth Esports probably would have taken that precaution, but failing to come up and maybe drop the hatch could have been something that would have been super helpful. And ultimately, Big Guy just doing an awesome job there on the Nomad, getting a ton of frags. We saw a triple kill from him, being very impactful. Cheeks as well. I believe he was the planter last round, so got to give it to him on that one. Very sneaky from Depth, but one thing I have to give them props for is how quickly they had the whole the second and third floor cleared. It was just almost immediate. We saw players just coming in through mining window. I'm not sure if maybe they had drones pre-placed at all the staircases and they were just absolutely sure there was no player on any of the upstairs rooms, but it was just, you know, they had so much time to use, and it was just like, you know, how do you even stop that at that point? You're barely even 25 seconds in the round and you've already got vertical play opened above you.
Yeah, but this time the last round we actually, all the roamers were playing on the first floor, I believe, and now Riley and Alpine are going to be on that third floor, but right now we are going to see a Baker take, and Hilux just going to barely squeak by the sights of Depth. Right now, Hilux is just going to really abandon that post. There's just so much pressure coming in from all around in the droning phase, making sure that everybody's where they want them to be. Right now, Riley and Alpine need to probably get back down, as we are seeing Alpine go down that white stairs, Riley going into mining, and it's just once again that collapse. But it's just how our Depth going to use this time that they have.
Yeah, so a little bit more of a heavier roam this time. They have yet to attempt to clear, really, so they're trying to just bank on Bakery. A lot of damage is going to be dealt to Cheeks, and even more, the electrified wall is going to zap him. Well, My peeking is going to get taken out by Habini, who's pushed up inside of Kitchen Prep. Well, My's Magnet is going to get taken out. So with him off the board, that's a very strong fragging operator, but he did a well job. Lots of damage onto Cheeks and some decent time wasted. We've got 1 minute and 20 seconds, so there's still an opportunity here, but with that rotate in the hallway, they've got a lot to worry about in taking the site.
Just some angles being fired, pre-fires, some punch holes going on, as Alpine's able to find the frag onto Brant, making it a 4v4, and Chu is just waiting it out, just trying to find the perfect time to go in, and same with Habini. Just holding those angles and finally going to be pushing into Kitchen. We still are not seeing the flank on, and Cheeks is going to get injured. Not down for the time being, but that diffuser is down, and that just creates a little bit of chaos for Depth, but Cheeks is going to be able to get revived and grab the diffuser. But there's so much pressure coming in from all around from ZePhora. Time is just waiting down to get the diffuser, and right now Chu is just waiting on the red stairs. I don't know if he knows that Big Guy is right around the corner. little bit of waiting here, but that air jab is just going to be so deadly. And there we are. We are seeing the refrag come out. Big Guy and Maya is both claiming one each.
Yeah, the air jab proving too difficult to overcome, and flurry of kills coming out here. Big Guy with the 44 Magnum. And it's going to be another one from Big Guy to close things out. Depth Esports take their second round in a strong bakery side push.
It really looked like that was going in the direction of ZePhora. They got the injure onto Cheeks. They had, like, they stopped Depth from getting point control very easily. But it was, I think that was just that frag from Big Guy that kind of stopped the momentum onto the Mozzie. And Chu almost had the opportunity to get that out, but I don't know if it was just too patient or not aggressive enough or just something that, I think it was just a couple of decisions that stopped that from going in ZePhora's direction.
Yeah, one thing I think we should look at is the fact that there was no attempt to utilize vertical play from the defense. As far as I saw, I don't know if they just were deciding to only have a little bit of a light roam and then come back to the site, but if they had chosen to open up a little bit of the floor, that could have created a third angle other than the kitchen double door, as well as the rotate into red hallway that could have been helpful in trying to shut down the plant. There we saw a lot of players get on low health, so using the vertical play could have been super helpful to get some really quick damage in order to finish off the attackers. But with us not seeing that, Depth Esports really locked things down. They made sure nobody could get to the rotate in red hall by use of the Nomad, just kind of pressuring from small bakery, and then just the rest of her team pushing through bakery without any, super great early pick that I think a bakery defense probably would need. If you're trying to stall things out there, you can't just give it up for free. But we saw Depth Esports super good with the utility in that they just open things up immediately. We've got a fast roam clear again. Some bullet holes being played by ZePhora. That's the Jaeger. Here's the drone. He's going to try to take it out, and he will be successful. But the attackers are really taking things upstairs and not really leaving anything up to chance. Brandt pushing into Cigar now, and the Jaeger's sitting just near pallets.
That Mozzie mute combo is just so good at denying intel, and that intel is really what Depth Esports is feeding as Cheeks is able to find highlights. It's that roam of the Mozzie, and another C4, the only C4 of the round off the board. He's still got those smoke grenades of Alpine, but Habini finding another one onto Riley. That's just more of your roam game gone, and Depth Esports now have control over second floor, and they're going to start to use this vertical play wisely. Seeing those reading parts being opened up, just how much longer is Maya going to survive?
Some damage from the floor onto Glyph. Mayas is attempting to hold the line, a valiant effort inside of reading room. The attackers are opening a lot of angles up. He's going to find a nice kill, taking out Habini, but Cheeks is going to find a refrag there, taking down Chu. It's a second kill of the round so far. Still just playing the vertical play. We've got a minute on the clock. A lot of wiggle room for the attackers and what they want to do, but if they keep sitting here on the top floor, eventually they're going to be forced to make a decision, and that decision is going to be taking out Mayas. It's all left up to Alpine. He's got 4 attackers to take down. Smoke grenades could provide some good utility, but the plants is going to go down. He manages to find 1 kill onto Alpine, but shut down by Cheeks. Depth Esports taking yet another round and completing a successful offensive rotation here.
One of the things about that vertical play is it's kind of like what giving Mira plays you. There could be someone there, but you don't know it. It's that, I forget what it's called. It's like, it's a psychological thing, but it's just, there's so much chaos going on above you, and even running across, like we saw Maya's dipping and dashing, trying to get into Fireplace. They were not successful, and it was just because they had no idea where it was coming from. They had the sledge, they had the Zofia nades, the charges, the ash. There was so much soft destruction being brought in by Depth just to break open that floor, and it was so successful in winning that round. But I do like to see that coming out with a Ying. I do like Ying. That might be a little bit of a controversial opinion. She's a very fun operator, but I can understand the very frustrating operator. We saw her Candelas being dropped from 4 to 3, and she's still got her smoke grenades, so she's still bringing that absolutely chaos. But I'm very interested to see how Cheeks is going to use her, because Cheeks actually doesn't have diffuser. Grant might drop it, but Cheeks has actually done very, very well today for being that planter.
Yeah, so utilizing those Candelas on this top floor site could be very influential in how they go for the plan, like you mentioned. And having a smoke grenades as well just provides so much utility for the plan. And I think Ying really has no rivals in terms of what utility she brings for planting. There's, you know, a lot that you can have in smoke grenades, like a Capital, or deciding to bring other operators like a Montaigne, who are usually going to be your planters. But just the sheer power that Ying has, she's got all the utility that makes a great planter, and then on top of that, Ubisoft went and just gave her an absolute godly gun. So there is really no drawbacks to playing Ying here. She's got super high-powered an LMG with a huge magazine, so you can just choose to pre-fire all day long, and you know, after you're done pre-firing, reload, flash, and just completely run in there and take the objective by storm. So utilizing Ying, I think, is really just going to be another tool in Depth's arsenal, and we're just going to be waiting to see. Here it comes. Dropping the hatch, going for a hungry Pro League play. Gonna find one, taking out the Maestro in the hallway. There's another one by the rotation there, so the Ying is gonna get taken out. Maya's with the refrag, Chu with another one, and Depth Esports are down a man. They're gonna find a refrag though, but immediately traded back. Maya's takes out Glyph, and it's all left up to Big Guy. Rush play not looking very successful for Depth on this round.
I like seeing rush plays. They're very, very fun to see. It seems though that they're not working out for Depth. The more methodical planning seems to be working out. But it's not rounds not over yet. Big Guy, top fragger for Depth right now, does have the diffuser, does have a decent amount of health, was chunked a little bit there by the SMG-11 of Maya's. So it's definitely not over yet. Time is ticking down. Still a decent amount left, but we are going to see Big Guy going into Cigar, just being so wary of the positions. And a little bit of an angle from Riley. I don't know if that's going to be up, but the pings are going to force Big Guy to possibly rotate around. It's just something you do not want as time goes down and down. But right now, Mize is holding that angle into Cigar. But Big Guy is starting to go into freezer, and the walls are closing in around, but he's able to find one. And it's just about finding Riley left. But will the plant go down for Big Guy?
Yeah, Riley holding a good angle through the door there, but he's not going to catch Big Guy, who's now playing deeper inside a cocktail, tossing a flashbang deep into the bar. Riley is still waiting. Plants is going to be successful, so this is going to put Riley in a bad position. Time wasting down here on the clock. He's coming in. He's in a good position, but Big Guy is going to find the headshot and take the round for Depth Esports. An awesome 1v2 clutch for him, and a great job to seal out that round, which looked wary for his team.
It was not looking good. I think Big Guy really knew the general range of where that Jaeger was, and just seeing that slow blue head come in, you just knew death was inevitable for Riley. And we're still, ZePhora is struggling to find the round. They're going to go back to bar, but we are not going to see that rush play, I don't think, anyway, since the absence of that Ying. Cheek's going to go back to that Maverick, which they are oh so fond of. And right now, ZePhora just need to find some way to stop the momentum of Depth and secure themselves a point on the leaderboard.
Locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, one thing I think Depth kind of fouled up on early in that rush play last round is they weren't super confident in their ability to take the objective. We saw after Cheeks dropped down there and killed one player inside of pallets, he kind of sort of lost the idea of what he was doing, and that really caused him a world of hurt. He was just sort of, I guess, sitting in Cocktail waiting for something to happen, and the something that did happen was a swing into Cocktail from, I believe it was the mute. So choosing to kind of not be completely 100% confident in yourself can really create a lot of problems, and if you're not working together with your team to let them know which angles are being held, that round could have been a lot more successful for Depth. I mean, ultimately, we did still see them win off the back of a great clutch by Big Guy. Have to give it to him. But they could have taken that, not in a clutch, in this more satisfying, sophisticated way, I guess you could say, for them. But ultimately, Depth Esports are up 4-0, so looking good for them. On the defense half as well for ZePhora, not being able to take any rounds so far. That's got to be frustrating. Mute jammer on. Red wall is going to get taken out, just going to allow potential breach in through there, although Cheeks doesn't really need it, considering he's got the Maverick torch. He can open whatever he likes.
Have a sonic burst to kind of come in to prevent that entry to Cigar. The absence of the IQ, which you wouldn't usually see, you would see if there was a Valkyrie, but that Valkyrie is banned, is going to allow Alpine to just rain so much havoc. But Hilux, under some fire, going to be able to find Big Guy. And that clutch player, which we saw, is immediately down. But that Echo drone is just going to give so much intel. And Riley's going to pre-fire, not going to be able to find anything. But it seems, though, that ZePhora just know exactly where everybody is. And they're just waiting on the time to attack at the right time as Chu is able to find Glyph, and it's a 5v3. And right now, Depth is just waiting to find something. Oh, the head gonna peek up a little bit. And there we go. Hilux able to find Brent a 2v5. And things are definitely looking much better for ZePhora.
Great utility play here on the Echo drone. Hilux is going to finally get taken out. Habini's going to find two, though, taking out Mayas and trying to swing the round back into his team's favor. The Echo drones still persist inside of Cigar's shop, and that's going to be a major thorn in the offensive side. It's going to continue to provide the information on the attacker positions for the rest of the round. And Jaeger is going to get torched through the wall here by Cheeks, and Abini is going to swing in and find a triple kill. Some smart play there. I have to give it to Cheeks, distracting the Jaeger, and it's going to even things out. The Echo drone's still in play, though, so that's going to be a problem. And he is going to use the Maverick's own hole against him. He's going to line him up and find two. A great double kill there, securing ZePhora Gaming their first round here.
I guess you could say he lit his ass up.
Yeah, so an interesting round. The failure to take out those yokai drones has got to be something Depth needs to fix. Bringing the IQ would be a smart play here to take out the utility, but moving to Kitchen now, it might be a little bit less helpful. Though, we've seen Echo be provides such great utility when you're playing here in service cooking, and that can just completely shut down teams that rely on the plant like Depth and how they execute onto the objective. Last time we saw the bakery push, and before that it was the top floor take from Depth, so we'll see what they try to go for this round, if they're going to try to repeat either of those strategies or maybe switch things up again and go for a back push.
I do like seeing the IQ from Habini. It makes Alpine's invisible drone army, I guess yokai army, that's Mozzie's line, a little bit less terrifying. It makes things a lot more easier on Depth, because panicking to find that yokai drone is one of the most terrifying things in this game. Is you just have these pings coming out, you have these bursts, and you have no idea where to look. And so having that IQ is just so much more helpful. And Habini's definitely making their way up that leaderboard. 6-5. Most of Depth is doing well. I mentioned that Hilux has got the pizza skin. We love to see that. It's pizza time, you know.
Yeah, so Pretty similar setup to what we saw last round. The notable difference is the lack of the Wamai holding Bakery. So it wasn't very successful last round, so switching off for a different operator to provide more utility, maybe the right play here for ZePhora.
I mean, you're just trying to spot those things out, whatever they may be. Electronics are the bane of IQ's existence, and she's already going to be trying to get that bakery wall open. And there's going to be not too much contesting. It seems that they're going to be going for the bakery push instead of the vertical play, which has helped them somewhat. But we did see a successful bakery take last time, so it's possible we'll see a repeat of that. But those Maverick holes, little dits and dots, are just going to allow the attackers to just stop any resistance to this Maverick breach.
Yeah, doing an interesting job opening it. I'm not sure entirely what the purpose of this here.
It might be to take out the Echo Drone above.
I did see the IQ attempting to peek that, yeah. And Glyph is going to find Chew, so that's your bandit off the board. The Nitro Cell removed. Hylix is going to trade it back, taking out the IQ, and that's going to be a real problem. That utility of the red Mark III scanner going to be off the board, and your Echo drones are going to persist. Though, the Echo getting taken out means he's going to be unable to operate the Sonic Blast. If he has them in good positions in the objective, though, he could still provide some intel.
Cheeks is going to be putting down that diffuser. No Echo Drone to stop it this time. And we're seeing a planting again, really no resistance, but that Nomad air jab is going to really do nothing but Hylix going to get bumped by that Zofia nade. And right now there's just so much chaos happening, and Hylix is going to be immediately taken down by Brant. And it's just Riley and Mayez against this 4-stack of depth who've been just so strong. And the frag grenade along with the gun of depth is going to be too much for Mayez. And it's just Riley who is going to sadly get taken out by this punch hole by Brand. And Depth Esports are going to take this 5-1.
Yeah, finishing their offensive half, only dropping a single round. Looks good here for Depth. Switching onto their offense, I'm interested to see if this is going to be one of these cafes where it kind of switches what we normally see and goes to being more offensive favored. ZePhora looked like they had a key to a lot of those rounds, but ultimately, in how things got down at the end, Depth had super great utility play, and they were just able to execute so flawlessly that ZePhora really didn't have a lot of opportunities to show what they're made of. And so we're going to have to see them step up here, moving over to offense. And the first bomb site is going to be the middle floor, going to Reading.
I find it very interesting. Buck did lose his frag grenades, and we saw Depth run the sledge. You know, we get that you lose that kind of horizontal, like upwards kind of destruction, but they do get the frag grenades, so it's very interesting to see Hylix run the Buck. I just think it's kind of different style of play from the teams, and I'm very interested to see how they're going to utilize the Buck. I just thought it was very interesting to mention how that lost Buck is Ubisoft mentioned they wanted to see more sledge play by Buck his frag grenade, so it's something to think about.
Yeah, Buck is an operator. His utility that he brings, while Sledge can make an attempt at it, there's really no rivaling how useful Buck is. And with him receiving even more shotgun shells for the skeleton key under barrel shotgun, he just has, more and more utility. And losing those frag grenades is definitely a heavy blow, but I still think that bringing him is kind of an easy decision to make when you're the attackers. His gun can dish out so much damage that, choosing to have him, while it provides that soft breach sort of role, he can be switched over to a fragger, I think. And with him having claymores now, we're going to be interested to see if that's maybe him moving sort of to more of a flex role, or if he's just going to be, more reliant on the fragging. A nice angle here from Glyph. I haven't seen this one before, from Maestro spot all the way to New Hatch. Habini's going to find the first kill of the round, taking out the Ash, and that's a very influential pick. It looked like she tried to drop the freezer skylight there and was not successful. It's going to be rotating.
One thing about that though is that nobody can take out those Maestro cams anymore. No, there's no soft destruction on the board. We only got that hard destruction of the thermite, so definitely a sigh of relief for Cheeks. Some damage coming in onto White Stairs as Habini finds another one onto Alpini. That Jaeger, doesn't matter how fast he is, his gun is still deadly. We're seeing that flashbang gonna be taken out by Magnet. And right now there's just a lot of pressure being put onto Brand, but they're doing their job of wasting that time.
Yeah, finding those 2 picks was definitely helpful for them. Shutting down the Ash, like you mentioned, is, with the lots of Bucks frag grenades, one of the most influential kills you could get here. Brant is going to take down Hylix, so that's the Buck off the board, and his utility will not be helpful in this round. We've got a minute on the clock. Still upstairs control for the defenders, and not forfeiting it just yet. Maez, though, is going to find Brant. A nice angle there from Pixel towards White Stairs, and losing your Wamai is definitely going to be a decision that you will regret. Riley is going to find another one, taking out Habini, and what was a 4v2 is now a 2-on-2. Riley's on low health though, so he could get taken out easily, but we've seen that doesn't always matter in a game like Siege, where you can one-shot headshot. It's really just up to the aim of the player in question as well as their reaction time. Maez is going to find one, taking out Big Guy, and it's all left up to Cheeks on the Maestro. He's going to spot the gun barrel of Maez and take down that player. He's got a lot of bullets to pre-fire here, and he is going to be successful. Cheeks taking down Riley, and things just falling apart there at the end for ZePhora. Depth Esports are going to find yet another round, securing match point, eliminating the possibility of a win for ZePhora here.
It seems that ZePhora really had control of that. I don't know if the call to the Maestro didn't come through, but it seemed that the Nomad just had no idea where that Maestro would be. I mean, the Cheeks even un-ADS. The stars had aligned for ZePhora to take that round. And once again, it just kind of falls through, allowing Depth to take it 6-1, going to match point.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons why that round fell apart is the great job Depth Esports did wasting time. Once you're low on the clock, you can make a lot of rash decisions that can be deadly for your team, and making those split-second decisions correctly is what separates the good teams from the great teams.
Yeah, that feeling of, oh god, what do I do? It's just, you gotta have good time management, you gotta be good under pressure, because Siege, you might find yourself in a 1v5, and that one person who knows how to just relax is that one person who would definitely win that 1v5. And it's why we see Depth is just got such a big hold on ZePhora on Cafe, and it doesn't really matter where they're going on the map. It seems that they know their way around it.
So Glyph, once again, gonna be on the Jaeger. Hasn't had the best of luck in this matchup, but it's gonna be holding Cigar and Pixel. So it's gonna be up to ZePhora. Are they gonna be able to take him out? An interesting angle from Big Guy to watch down to the bottom of Reading Door. We see a lot of players try to push in there as the IQ to maybe kill anybody on cameras inside of Cocktail. But right now, it's just going to be waiting for that. So, not really going to provide Depth Esports with any opening kills from that angle. Habini is playing pretty aggressively under the hatch here. So, we'll have to wait and see if it will net him any kills. He's going to spot a player dropping inside of Red, but they're quick to push down the staircase. His Nitro Cell is not going to land anything except for some damage onto Hylix.
They know exactly the vicinity of Habini is. They're droning him out, and it's just trying to escape now, and Habini is just gonna go right back onto second floor, and which is immediately gonna be fragged by Riley. You cannot escape the death that is the M762, but Hylix gonna take some almost deadly damage from Glyph and Cigar. Right now, Cheeks, that is so big, and that sight almost actually works. That angle Split Guy almost is able to take out Riley, but Riley, along with Hilux, they're both just on so low health and able to survive.
So Thermite placing one of his exothermic charges, it sounded like. Tossing all of the flashbangs here into Pixel Spot, and Brandt is going to find one. Smoke Canister is going to take out Hilux, who was already very low on health, which we saw inside of Cigar Shop. Cheeks is going to find another one, and that's going to continue to provide man advantage for Dapt Esports as they take another kill, removing Chu.
And that Jaeger and Cigar Shop, Riley is just has their sights trained on that deployable shield. They got nothing else to do. They just have to wait it out because Glyph is just that ever-looming threat in Cigar. Don't have those impact nades to take down the pub. Don't have those cushion nades. And that Riley is able to be spotted out and not logged for this Earth. I don't know if they're gonna. Actually gonna be able to get the withstand. The pressure from Maya is too big. And Brandt gonna have to back off. This is 3v2. Riley is gonna be back up. The time is not on their side. It is down to a 2v1, but I don't think Riley has any idea where anybody is. And Dapt Esports is gonna win it out 7-1 on Cafe over ZePhora.
Yeah, not a lot to be said there. Dapt Esports really just doing an awesome job setting up the site and getting a great string of kills inside of Cigar itself. We saw ZePhora make a great attempt and kind of a little bit of a misplay there, allowing the Zofia to get herself back up, like you mentioned. But ultimately, the effect it had on the round was not to be